Can you stand up? I can't hear you properly. Mano, M-A-N-O? Mano? Oh, Mano. Oh, were you in the class just now?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Oh, your first time. Oh, I see. What we are saying is, getting back to your question, we cannot just chop out one piece and explain Mano to you. We have to relate it to some more details. Mano is one part of the mind. The Buddha told us that the mind is very subtle, very intricate. And if we really want to study the mind so that we have the ability to understand it, given that even neuroscientists say they only study 10% of the mind, they haven't covered all the details. There's so many unknown in neuroscience. The mind is in 8 parts. The first 5 are the sensory organs consciousness. The eyes, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the 5, the body. Right? These are the 5, this what you call the 5 outdoor front-end salesmen and sales lady. These are the front ends, right? They're all standing in the front end. I'm giving you the analogy of a company. It's easier to comprehend if we give you an example. If we don't have an example, it's very difficult to understand. So 5 parts of the mind is just, given an example of a company, it's just like the salesman and the sales lady and the receptionist interacting with externalities. And then, other than the 5 parts, there's also the 6 parts. We call it the 6 consciousness. And the Mano, if we use the analogy of a company, is the manager. The manager in a company, coordinating all the salesmen, supervising all the salesmen, and making sure that they work, and making sure that they understand what they're doing. And the salesman also has the ability to dig in old files, ability to dig in budgets for the future, archive files of previous history, and also interact with the present moment. So that Mano has the ability to access the past, access the future, and interacting with the present. Now up to the 6, right? It's the 6 consciousness. The 7 and the 8, let's talk about it a little later. When your eyes see, when your ears listen, when your nose smell, when your tongue tastes, when your body gets in contact, that's just the perception part of it. The perception cannot make decisions. Your eyes themselves cannot make decisions as to this is red, this is tall, oh this is handsome, this is beautiful, this is ugly, this is... The eyes cannot discriminate. The eyes cannot make a decision. They only perceive. The eye is just like the lens of the camera, not the inside program of the camera. So, the 5 consciousness, the sensory organs, only perceive, and that's the perception process of the mind. But there is a manager who receives the perception, categorize it, interpret it, and give it meaning. That's the 6 consciousness. Categorize, rationalize, give it meaning, interpret it, and analyze it, investigate it. By investigation, I mean the manager can also get into memory. Say if an old customer come in and then he wants to see the manager, show the manager say, what's your name? Oh, you're John Wilson. Okay, John Wilson, let me take out the file. So they take out the file and say, oh, John, you have all these, that's great, you know, what do you want to know? So the manager has the ability to remember. The eyes don't have ability to remember. You think your eyes can remember? No. Your nose can remember? No. Your tongue can remember? No. Only the manager can. Only the brain, sometimes we call it the brain, right? So the manager has the ability to dig into the old files, also has the energy to get into a budgeting. In other words, you have the ability to remember the past, to recollect the past. You also have worries about the future. Oh, am I going to lose this job? How do I plan my life? Oh, shoot, I don't want to. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. How is my marriage working out? My husband is not unfaithful, and my husband has another, I don't know, relationship. And gee, what am I going to do? Oh shoot, what am I going to do? So you have a lot of worries about the future. You have a lot of fear. You have a lot of anxiety. You have a lot of depression about the future. You have that. The sixth consciousness have that. And the sixth consciousness also have the present ability to interact, make decisions. That's mano. That's your mano. The mano is extremely active and extremely analytical and extremely powerful. Because the mano can get you to be a millionaire. The mano can get you to hell. The mano to get you to go to crime. If all the perceptions were done and somehow the mano interpret the perceptions in a way that is threatening life, that is creating jealousy in love affair, that is devastating on future, the mano is going to perform something really stupid. Killing, lying, raping, going to war, genocide, oh, you name them. So the mano can do good stuff and bad stuff. How do you instruct your mano to do? You are your own mano. You are making the movie of your own life. You are your own producer. You are your own director. You are your own script writer. How do you write it out? You write out your own script in your life. You direct your own life. You produce your own life. You do your cinematography. You do your sound. You do everything. How do you do it? You got to be careful. You got to be careful how do you do your picture. Some picture has box office. Some picture fail, you know. Some pictures are classic. The Sound of Music. Every year, everybody talk about the Sound of Music. Indiana Jones. Everybody talk about Indiana Jones. I always want to compare it to a movie, because when I was young, I love movies, and I love cinematography. I like script. There are movies that are not like Indiana Jones. There are movies like the plot is very simple. The plot is very simple. The script is simple, and then it's a beautiful movie. Have you ever seen a movie called A Bouquet for Charlie? That's the kind of movie that I saw when I was 13, and it's still infringed on my mind. It's about someone, I forgot, there's no such movie even on YouTube because you can't rent it, it's out of date. It's about someone who suffered from a neurotic illness. The doctor said, in 6 years, you're not going to be normal again. This man was having a love affair he fell in love with a lady, and they were really genuinely and honestly in love. But the man knew that quite soon he's going to forget everything. And then the movie is about how he told his girlfriend that what he's going to go through, and how he wanted to remember everything about his love affair with the lady. And the script is revolving around this story theme. And then, really, when the time came, the man forgot about everything. And 1 year later, the man even died. And the lady laid a bouquet of flowers on the grave, and then the movie ends, A Bouquet for Charlie. It's a very good movie. I couldn't find it. If you can find it on, It's not even, it doesn't even exist. There was many, many years ago. It's called A Bouquet for Charlie. It's by, the actor was a British actor. I think his name is Christopher. It's not Christopher Plummer. It's somebody else. Maybe you can find it. I want to see that movie too. There's so many movies like that. It's a simple movie, but it's good. So your mano is your producer, your script writer, your cinematographer, your everything. So watch your mano. Meditation is to train the mano into doing good. And what is more complicated is that we're not even do we have 6 consciousnesses, we also have the 7 and the 8. The 7 is called the manas. The manas is what we call the egocentric consciousness. It's always looking after itself. It has a self-centered existence only. It's very self-centered. The manas is a selfish, egoistic ego, a self. And that is also called the chitta, the emotional mind. The manager always have this hassle behind his back that giving a lot of troubles to the mano. The mano always want to do good, and sometimes mano may be bad. But this manas is always bad. It's the ego mind. The ego mind is the emotional mind. The mano is more or less a rational mind. The emotional mind and the rational mind are always at tug at war with each other. They're pulling against each other. The mano want to do something good, and the mano says, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. They're always at a tug. The emotional mind is always at a tug of war with the mano, which is the rational mind. And sorry to say that the manas is always in control. Your emotional mind has always been stronger than mano. That's the trouble. In your whole life, your emotional mind is more dominating than your rational mind. That's the reason why sometimes we're stupid. We perform stupid things with bad things and all that. We have a tantrum, we get depressed, we have anxiety, we have fear, we have worry, we're egoistic. So, the mano is interacting and accepting reality. Whatever the mano see, whatever the eyes see, whatever all the sales agent and sales manager do, the mano is always, okay, give me the files, okay, let's analyze this. The mano is always accepting reality with more or less rationality. But the manas is rejecting reality. He always wants to be selfish. He always wants to be emotional. He's depressed. He have a lot of fear. So we're always dominated by this manas. Okay, it works that way. Meditation is to put the mano under control so that they are more or less balanced. Or it would be the mano is a little more dominating than the emotional mind. That would be a saint. If your mano is always dominating your emotional mind, that means your emotional mind can't do anything. You won't get angry, you won't get jealous, you won't get selfish, you won't have depression, you won't have fear, you have none of that. You always have the tranquility of mind. Can you have that? Who has a complete tranquility of mind? No. That's why we are reincarnating. That's why we are always in trouble. Because our emotional mind is always dominating our rational mind. The Buddha taught us how to improve on the rational mind so that the rational mind can gain control. But how many people are interested in helping the rational mind to gain control? Not many. Not many. And then, that's the 7, the manas. And if you really want an example about a company, the manas is the board of directors. Very selfish. He doesn't care. He has no social responsibility. He just wants his stock price to get up and higher and higher and higher, want all the profit in the world. He want to fire everybody who can't do the job. You know, very, very selfish. And the mano and the salesman are very afraid of him, of the board of directors. because they don't really care. If you can't perform, you go. Okay? Very practical. And all these conglomeration happens as a conglomerated whole, which is the eight consciousness, which covers all. The eight consciousnesses cover all these whole echelon, all this whole organization. That's the organization, the spirit of the organization. That's called the alaya consciousness. That spirit of the organization also store the organization's spirit from day one, from very beginning. There's no day one, from the very beginning. In other words, all the salesmen and manos die, and the organization is still there. When a person dies, all the foregoing consciousness, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tail, and the tongue, they're all dead. No eyes anymore, no nose, no tongue. All the salesmen and sales lady are dead. The mano is fired. And whenever the mano knows would retreat into the manas and the alaya consciousness become the alaya consciousness, the body is gone. No more body because you're dead. What leaves the body to go into another round of life and death? That's the alaya consciousness, the eight consciousness. It gets out of the body invisibly because this is an energy. You can't see energy. It gets out of the body and then it becomes the Bardo stage energy. We call it the Bardo stage. The Bardo stage is the intermediate stage between life and death. In other words, when I die, for example, zoom, I have my alaya consciousness leaves my body. It's roaming around for 49 days and it finds its way to get reborn, to have another birth. And I find this Mr. Zhong and Mr. Zhong that Mr. Zhong, I know him in his previous life and he has been good to me. I reincarnate into his wife's belly and become his son, his daughter. I became a daughter of Mr. Jones because I owe him something, or because he was good to me and I love him. So I want to reincarnate. So the relationship is there. Because the Mr. Zhong and Mr. Zhong's previous life, or this life, had a very good relationship with me. I came back to be his daughter or his son in a very good relationship. But if the relationship is bad, I also come back. I'm going to get you, Mr. Zhong. You owe me $1 million and you haven't repaid me. I'm going to get you to repay me. Or you divorced me in your previous life. In this life, I want to divorce you. I want to make sure that you go down hell. So some daughters and sons want you to go down hell, and some daughters and sons want you to go to heaven. Everybody is different. All is unfinished business. So whenever anyone in your family members die, or don't really, just let it be. I mean, you're just repaying your debt, or he's repaying your debt. Just lead a good life. That's all. It's all relationship. The Buddha said, end life and death. This is really all kinds of troubles in this. Go beyond this. This is what we call anuttara samya sambuddhi, nirvana, enlightenment, a Buddhahood. That's what the name given to it. Okay? So that is the alaya consciousness that is responsible for the reincarnation. Have you got that clear for Mano? Okay, what is your question?
Is Mano a discriminating mind?
Is Mano discriminative mind? Yes. Yeah. The mano is not exactly good, The mano is more rational than the emotional mind. The mano is not yet pure, but the mano is more rational because when you're in a society, when you're a child, you went to a school and the teacher said, don't bully other people. And you got in the mano that I shouldn't bully my friend. That's more rational than bullying, right? And your dad say, okay, kid, you have to work hard in order to make a living. Oh, my dad told me to work hard, so diligence is the way to go. So that got into a mano. But in some family, your dad say, kid, anyone who's standing in your way, eliminate him. Because you are the greatest. You are the greatest. Anyone in your way, eliminate him. This little boy say, oh, anyone in my way, I'm going to eliminate him. He's going to be criminal. The mano is a criminal mano. So, but generally, we are more rational because we have a good education and all that. So we are more or less more rational. The emotional, the manas is all emotions, all self-centered existence. Okay? Any more questions? Yeah, okay. And we have to get this all familiar in our mind in order to practice meditation. The Buddha's teaching is not just about putting flowers, unquestionable belief and faith, no. God is in you, not externally. There's no external God, it's in you. You are that God in you that you can work it out. We don't want to blame God though, because how can you blame the God? The Buddha called Anuttara Sambuddhi Buddhahood. You may call Buddhahood a God, then God is okay. It does not matter what name you use it. Name is just a name. Name is just a name. Some people say, I want to protect this word called God. My religion is called God and I want to protect it with my life. God. But then he's one-sided. He does not know that God is in everybody. You have that God nature in you. You have also that devil nature in you too. The Buddha found the God nature, completely work it out and go to that perfection in life. We haven't. And Buddha wanted to show us the way. If the definition of God, that God can save you, He must be omnipotent, He must be all-powerful. He will have saved you already. You won't go through the suffering. You won't have to suffer, right? If there's really a God, how can God make us suffer? God would not make us suffer if there is a God. God would not say, okay, I put you on test. Testing you whether you're faithful to me. If you're faithful to me, I save you. If you're unfaithful, I won't save you. Then that's not God. God is not discriminative on races, on belief, and all that, right? But we don't say that God is no good. It depends on what meaning you attach to God. So we don't want to criticize any religion because after all, I don't know what they may mean that God is something that, some purity, some tranquility that you're going to reach. So we don't want to blame anything. We don't want to discriminate anything. Discrimination itself is not godlike. God is free from discrimination. So how can I discriminate that word called God?